Evil Squid Comics podcast. We are part of the Collector's Maze Network.
Don.
Scott.
Andrew. Local Man. Tim Seeley. Tony Fleecs.
Yes. Is that how you pronounce that? Fleecs?
I don't know how to pronounce it. And then the artist is Brad Simpson. And
well, those are the colors, are Brad and
Felipe.
So
Tim Seeley and Tony Fleecs did the art.
That's right. They created, wrote, and drew this. So who split what, I have no idea.
Maybe Tim Seeley did like the weird flashback ones and Tony Fleecs did the...
Oh, that could be.
But that's interesting because Tony Fleecs, I'm used to seeing him draw like dogs and stuff because he did that Stray Dogs.
Yes,
whatever.
yeah.
So
yeah.
this is where he's... Good
Could
for
be.
him.
Yeah.
He's not being pigeonholed.
I guess not. He does draw a dog, though, in this. Or there is a dog in this.
That's true.
So,
Gotta have the dog.
That's right.
Okay.
So you want to go with this? I think I explained a lot.
Go with this. Yeah, I can go. So Local Man, we've got our titular hero, and he was Crossjack. He was a superhero, kind of on like a Youngblood type team. And apparently he's back at home disgraced because he's been kicked off the team.
Yeah, and their team was like 3rd gen, I think, or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
team was called 3rd Gen or
Yeah.
something. And so he's kicked off the team, and he's back at home, and his parents have taken him back in his hometown, and they're kind of dicks to him a little bit. They're like, what are you doing back here? You're late for dinner. And I think everybody, his parents and pretty much the whole town, everybody's pretty much just, because he was like, it was like a small town. They had this famous guy, and then he went and screwed it all up type of thing. So it's funny, in the beginning, he catches like a driver is what it's called. It's like an Uber ride, and they're like, fuck Crossjack or something like that, So they're, even the driver's like giving him a hard time.
Everybody does not like him,
Correct.
and yet he goes back to his small town.
Yeah, well, I think he's got no choice, right? Because he's got no where else to go. You go back to your parents.
It appears so. He's going back to his parents.
Yeah. So anyway, but
it seems like he has like diddly for money and
and his ex-girlfriend from high school is there, and she's like pretty successful, started like her own business, but she's married to the sheriff. And I guess there's like an old like supervillain from the town who was kind of like his arch villain when he was like younger.
Yeah.
And the first night he goes to a bar, and that guy shows up and tries to attack him, and they get into a scuffle, and the supervillain gets hauled off to jail, and while he's in jail, he gets murdered. So
and of course, also though, because of the fact that a scuffle even happened, and
that's the best part. Yeah,
Crossjack used some type of a trash can, lid to take him out. The 3rd gen, team comes and says that he violated his a non-disclosure agreement,
some
or
kind of contract where he's not allowed to use his powers
where
anymore.
he's not supposed to use his powers anymore. To includes can't use a shield,
anything that's shield-like.
Yep, shield-like. Can't do any investigations.
No, he can't do any police work or superhero work.
Yeah.
So apparently his power is he's kind of like Hawkeye. He can throw anything with pinpoint accuracy or something. Yeah, that's his
Except
power.
for arrows for some reason. He can't
Correct.
shoot.
He's bad with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, bow and arrow. He can't hit the broadside of a
Seems
barn,
like it's more of a psychological thing. But
yes.
absolutely.
But anything else can just, flick and hit whatever he wants.
So he quickly gets pulled into like this small town like murder investigation, which he's not supposed to be doing, and so he puts on like a ski mask and goes around, trying to stay incognito, or whatever.
And through each one of these issues, as you're going through, at the end of each one, there's a little bit of like a flashback, the team that he was a part of, and giving you little bits and pieces of maybe some villains they fought or something that happened, that was maybe a fairly key part of whatever adventures they had.
They take a long time getting to why he was disgraced or kicked out of the team in the first place, I felt.
They give a general thing, I felt like early on, there was some type of affair that happened.
Yeah, I guess they do like maybe the second or third
That's
issue.
right,
Second
the
issue,
second
probably.
issue, I think.
Yeah.
But you're not real sure why that was enough to get him, discarded as much as he did, and why everybody hates him. On top of that,
much. Yeah. So started reading this. I thought it was a cool idea. Like, here's this disgraced superhero back in his hometown. There's like a murder. It seems like it had a lot of potential. But as it went, it's like it started getting really convoluted, right, and complicated. And the flashback sequences, I just had to force myself to read those because those were just horrible. Like, I think they were intentionally kind of horrible.
Horrible because they're
kind of going with that extreme
play
90s
with the
thing.
90s craze.
Yeah, but they were hard to read, get through, and then it just felt like like the story was too confusing and it wasn't well enough explained for me to figure out all the intricacies of how all this stuff was connected. Did you get lost at all?
Okay, so I don't know that I got lost. I felt like overall it was a fairly simple story that was going on there. He's back there, he's investigating. There's something goofy going on with the old team he was part of, and something with a particular, team that they fought early on in their fights. Now, I will agree with you that in that last two issues, maybe even the last one, it does get convoluted because it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you fought some type of God type thing. There was a member of your team who was very, what would you say, pious or something like this. But then it takes a weird thing in which it's like, okay, this weird artifact that you found, you're now using for superheroes, but yet these superheroes that you created, you then decided that you take their powers? What were you doing there? You're right. It's something there in that last issue. It goes from what was a fairly simple murder mystery leading up to things to going then, let's just throw all this weird crap in. And then your kind of bad guy who's the murderer, I don't even know who the fuck that was,
Yeah, so it's almost like I should have been paying more attention during the flashbacks because maybe they were important. Because they dropped some terms that then they played back in.
They dropped some of it so that you get a little bit of an idea of things like, okay, they were using this particular little town as a hotspot to create more superheroes. Yeah. And using like this crazy, what would you say, all-powerful artifact to allow to do that. Yeah. But I don't know that I got the gist of, you're kind of, I don't know if you want to call him even the main villain, but this weird leader of the third gen team is talking about his kids that he couldn't have, and then something about stealing their powers and putting them into another one, but yet then they throw this person in there who's doing the killing, and like I said, as far as I can tell, they never even told me who this guy's name is, and it's just that he's thrown in there. So I'm with you that I thought it was very simple until about, I think it was almost that last freaking issue where it's like they're feeling like they need, and then to add things even worse, a certain character that's, we thought was just, I don't know about throwaway, but just somebody that was a history. Turns out that they have more than just history with your lead character, that they've got something else going on that could be a little, I don't know, maybe they're an antagonist here. I don't know.
I think it could have been a really cool, like just simple kind of crime sort of story with the superhero who's been disgraced back in his hometown with some character drama, thrown in. I think that would have been really cool. But yeah, they went in a totally different direction, and they kind of lost me for a little bit. Yeah,
I would agree. There is a certain aspect of where I thought this is way more convoluted than it needs to be, and I think in my mind I just made it simple. I was like, put it in my mind, keep it simple, stupid, and I just went, okay, what is it? It's this, this, and this, and so this is the best way that it came across in my mind. But to get there, I thought was dumb. In fact, I even flipped back and go, did we meet this guy somewhere? And I didn't
was he the driver? Was he the driver guy?
I'm like, who is this guy that they just decided is the killer that you're going? It was just an odd choice.
It was an odd choice. I don't know. Like I said, there's a volume 2, so I guess we're going to.
But I do admit, some of those, I did read usually the little backstories at the back, and I did enjoy, I think, a little bit of the nostalgia flashback. Sure. Especially when they really went to the idea of almost recreation of certain, team looks, that I remember from the 90s. Sure. I thought that, I don't know which one it is, but whichever artist, Tim Seeley or Tony, that recreated their best Rob Liefeld.
Oh, yeah. Looks. I think that was Tim Seeley. I don't know.
It was done very well. Yeah. Where I was like, I almost had to go, is that,
Yeah.
Did Liefeld come back just to do this page? I don't know,
Yeah. So, I don't know. Had potential. We'll see. Maybe volume 2 is awesome.
Could be. You are right, though. I think I had some very good potential, if not even almost being a little, the murder mystery kind of slowness going on there. And then when it decides it needs to speed up, it just, decided to.
All right. Cool. Local man.